Good evening, everyone. Let's give this a minute or two. We have a few more people coming in to join us, and we'll start very shortly. All righty, let's start. Good evening. I'm Margaret Tramontine, United Way's Chief Development Officer. Welcome to our town hall meeting this evening. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And thank you as well for your interest and for your support. Both are truly, truly invaluable to us and are very much appreciated. So thank you. Tonight, you'll hear about the needs of residents struggling to make ends meet in our community. And you will also learn from my colleagues, Faith Ann Butcher, Chief Impact Officer, and Linny Jacobs, 211's Chief Information and Referral Officer, about how your United Way is working to make a positive difference in the lives of our neighbors. During this evening's program, if you have a question, please feel free to type it into the chat box located at the bottom center of your screen, and we'll be delighted to address it at the conclusion of our time together this evening. Now, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce and turn the program over to United Way's President and CEO, Tom Gabriel. Tom?
Thank you, Margaret, and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this town hall this evening. We decided to offer this gathering knowing how busy everyone is this time of year as a way to connect with all of you and help you better understand the impact that we have created together, united, in this community. As many of you know or have seen, our United Way has been rebranding, retooling, and rebuilding over the past 5 years. We embarked upon this effort based upon two realizations. Firstly, because 37% of Westchester and Putnam residents live in poverty or paycheck to paycheck. That second group, the paycheck to paycheck group, is what we call ALICE. It stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. These are individuals who are working, people like home health aides, security guards, waiters and waitresses, after-school program teachers, retail salespeople at big box stores. They're all people that are essential to our economy, but who just don't make enough to survive in Westchester and Putnam County. And that first group, the poverty group, those individuals living in poverty have grown by 37% since 2010. We've gone from 29,000 households in 2010 to almost 40,000 households as of 2022 data. We just released our 2024 ALICE report, which looks at the real cost of living in our communities. You can find it on our website, uwwp.org. And the results are staggering. A single-parent household with one child in childcare must earn $67,000 a year just to survive. That's more than $12,000 higher than the New York State average. An important takeaway here is that minimum wage in Westchester is currently $16 an hour. So it takes that single parent 80 hours a week at minimum wage, plus whatever tax credits there are, for that single-headed household with child and childcare to survive in Westchester. And for a family of 4 with 2 adults and 2 children in childcare, they must earn $108,000 a year, again, just to survive. In Putnam, that same family must earn just over $121,000 a year. But don't just take our ALICE report statistics as a barometer of the needs in our community. Look at our 211 helpline interactions, which have increased more than 536% since 2019. Yes, you heard that right. 536% across all platforms, phone calls, text messages, web searches, emails. If you don't know what our 211 helpline is, you'll hear more about it in a few minutes from our colleagues, Linny Jacob. The top 3 requests for assistance continue to be around food insecurity, housing insecurity, and help with rent and utilities. Further evidence that people in our community are struggling. But these aren't numbers. These are people. with hopes and dreams like everyone else, hopes and dreams for a better life for themselves and their children. And they need us, our United Way, to do more. And that's the other reason why we embarked on this rebranding, retooling, and rebuilding effort, because all of us at the United Way believe that we are inextricably intertwined as individuals, as agencies, as businesses. Just as a business relies on its staff who live in the community, so do the families that try to survive and thrive there. The poet Ryonosuke Satoru once said, individually, we are one drop. Together, we are an ocean. Our community is a great big ocean, a complex and fragile mosaic of family, friends, volunteers, funders, businesses, and government entities, all lifting each other up as we strive for the same things. Again, to create a better life for ourselves and our families. Together, we are an ocean. So we began creating programs and services about 5 years ago, consistent with our mission to create a more equitable community. These programs and services either advance education, financial stability, or health initiatives, and they support that almost 40% of Westchester and Putnam households living in poverty or paycheck to paycheck. They take into consideration the whole family or individual and try to lift them up holistically. You'll hear about some of these efforts in a moment from our Chief Impact Officer, Faith Ann Butcher. And yes, we are still a funder, something that we have been known for since 1962. In fact, last year, we invested and administered more than $6 million in grants and essential goods to 189 nonprofit organizations and partners. We are proud that since we embarked on that rebranding, retooling, and rebuilding effort 5 years ago, that we have more than doubled in size and almost tripled our impact in the community. But we could not have done that without you. So for whatever role you played in that effort, thank you. Now, to tell you more about our impact in the community and some of our programs and initiatives, I'd like to introduce Faith Ann Butcher, our Chief Impact Officer.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Rather than just have us look at talking head or have you look at talking heads all night, I am going to share my screens for a few quick slides. There is a brief snapshot of a collage of our programs. Many of you will be able to see things you recognize, and some people that you recognize. So we want to tell you about some of our programs that really hit home for the families and really, make a difference. And one of those programs is our Ride United Last Mile Transportation Program. This is a program that started in the middle of COVID. It started because school children couldn't get lunch because they weren't going to school. And so we were working with the school districts on being able to make sure those kids could actually get their food. And we actually originally started working with it with volunteers, and then we started a partnership with DoorDash and Feeding Westchester. And we've been doing this program now for almost 5 years, or we'll be celebrating our 5th year come June. And we are about to embark on our 150th delivery, 150,000th delivery. Right. And so to be able to know that we went from just trying to meet an initial need from COVID, what we found out is that once COVID was over, there was still a need. These families still needed access to healthy food. And very often they didn't have the time to get to food pantries because they were working. So being able to deliver these parcels of fresh produce actually allowed them to be able to receive these items with dignity. We were able to put money into the local economy through the DoorDash drivers, and we're able to offer healthy foods so that we know that healthier foods provide healthier children, which means they go to school more, which means they're educated more. And so the wheels turn over and over again, and we all end up better. So the testimonial for this is, I'm always grateful to you. We work sporadically and some things are scarce, but we're happy when we see the little blue bag at our door. I want to thank you for sending us the backpack with school supplies because we do that over the summer. And I have no words to tell you how grateful we are with this program and with you. Thank you so much. And that's from Maria and Masha in Yonkers. Because it's not about the programs, it's about the people that we help with these programs. Okay, then with our essential goods program, Tom was telling you about our essential goods program before, where we provide bedding, mattresses, socks, other clothing, and an array of other items to individuals through our partners. And this is Cindy. Cindy's a regular at one of our food pantry partners. And she was amazed when they had brand new pillows from Brook Linen. If you have not had Brook Linen, these are better linens than what that are on my bed at home. Right? These are high-end luxury items that we are able to provide. And the pillows, like your head just soaks into them. So, but Cindy was not able to believe that she was able to accept one, right? Because think about how often do you change your pillows? And so especially as you get older, it gets thinner and thinner, but what are you going to do? There's always something else that the money has to go to. So she was more than happy to be able to accept one of these pillows. And she has been talking about it every week since she's gone back to the food pantry. So, you know, when you're able to make those kind of differences in people's lives, it's just awesome. And then finally, we're in our third year of our Education United after school program. We are currently in 3 different school districts: the Terrytown School District, the Ossining School District, and the Greenberg School District. And we have students in between grades 1st through 3rd. And they're doing everything from STEM to drumming to ballet, you know, to art. And these kids are begging their parents to let them stay later, right? So we have a quote here from Miriam, whose son Lucas goes to the Ossining program. And she had said, I tried to pick Lucas up, but he started crying and asked me to please pick him up later because he was going to miss gym with his friends. And so she started picking him up later, which allowed her the opportunity to work more hours at work, knowing that her son was in a safe place with his friends and being able to get his homework done, which made her life easier also when they all got home later on. These are just a snapshot of the programs that we have going on in our programs in Impact. And I'm going to kick it over to Lenny.
Thank you, Faith. Good evening, everyone. As mentioned, I am the Chief Information Referral Officer of 211, where we serve Westchester and Putnam counties in addition to serving additional 10 counties in New York State. The fun thing is, I have been in the career of serving people my entire adulthood, and I'm so excited doing it through 211. Let me tell you what 211 is. You already know. It is tough to ask for help. It is not easy to tell people you're struggling. Even more importantly, sometimes when you're looking for help, it is really hard to find, right? What if we have one very easy, simple way to access those programs? That's where 211 came about. So what we are, a 3-digit number, free, confidential, and available 24/7. It is a lifeline for people and communities in need, not just about connecting people to services. The system is about providing hope and support at moments when people feel most alone and unable to meet their basic needs, like a roof over their head. You know, you can access this free service through 3 channels: dialing 211, texting your support to 898-211, or accessing information through our website, 211hudsonvalley.org. You know, since I grew up in another country and migrated here, I was very naive about the lives of some people led. You know, seniors trying to get by just on Social Security, callers who have no family or friends to help them, working people living paycheck to paycheck. Let me repeat, working people living paycheck to paycheck. When a disaster hits them, like losing their job or their car needs expensive repair, they have no financial resources to fall back on. That's when many of them turn to 211 for help. You know, every call, the text, email to 211. It is a moment of weakness, a trust. It is an opportunity, right? The 211 community resource specialists who give so much of their time to those who reach out for help, bridge gaps in our social support network, and connecting individuals to the help they need most. Faith, can you go to the next slide? I was just looking at the slide. Okay. We typically take around 100,000 incoming calls with over 600,000 interactions annually. The number of interactions are increasing each year, as you can see from the graph. Of the call increase, there is a rise in costs related to income support, which is 16%. Clothing and housing needs, it's up to 55%. Utilities, which is up to 33%. We do see this year, like in 2024, we do see pretty clear trend this year, and well over 23% of those connections are related to housing, which nearly double pre-pandemic numbers. This increase began during the pandemic and it continued. Two of the most, I want to share, what we are seeing and what we are hearing from callers. Two of the most asked for needs are help when a person has fallen behind in the rent or is facing a shutoff because they cannot keep up with their utility bills. We go over the steps they need to take, such as starting with the Department of Social Services, maybe trying to work out a planned, payment plan with the utility company. And we give them area agencies that maybe help them with the back rent or utilities. Since COVID, when that emergency rent payment assistance ended, there has been a significant increase in people facing eviction. The demand for eviction prevention legal services is so great. Now, I can tell you that often agencies that provide this service have too many clients. That's why 211 start always explain the eviction process to callers, so the caller knows each step and is aware of the next, right at that as a tenant. And also, the data we capture in the 211 system, it plays a key role in understanding the evolving needs of individuals, families, and communities. And I will tell you this, we talked about over 660,000 interactions. Sometimes we are not able to meet the need of those requesting help because there are no resources available, right? But we report them to our communities, give them to our leaders, to our local funders to say there is where your community is needing, where there are no resources. It is important to know that we don't just stop with, I'm sorry, there's nothing. We keep our staff, they keep trying to help and even use that information to inform our communities about needs. Next slide. When a person is feeling defeated, helpless, we provide advocacy. We recently received a call from a senior who was so upset because she tried to use her EBT card in the supermarket, but somehow it was not working because it shows that there was no benefit on her card. So she couldn't buy food. She was initially calling to get help with how to find out her balance, EBT card balance. After assessing the situation, besides offering food pantries and even arranging food delivery, because she had mobility problems and couldn't get out that easily, we advocated on her behalf and helped her get connected to the right department so her food stamps EBT issue, the card could be resolved, right? So we played that role and we were able to get that help for her. This is just one call. When we look at these numbers, it's not just a number. These are individuals struggle, the story, and what the issues they are going through. So we have many more like that. For certain type of calls, someone needing mental health or DV type of help, we make a follow-up calls to make sure that they receive the help they need. being empathetic, helping callers, plan what they need to do next, offering them information referral is that's what we do every day. But there's no better feeling when you end that call, the person tells you they have some hope and are feeling better because the help you offered them. We are able to offer that help because of the support we are getting from all of you. 211 is more than a helpline. This is an entry point to a care and a support system that strengthens the fabric of our communities. Let us come together as a community to serve together. Thank you all for joining us. Now I invite Tom to make the closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Linny, Faith, and Margaret. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us for this brief but hopefully informative town hall. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We'll be happy to field any inquiries you have and answer them. But I do just want to take a moment and point out the interconnectivity that you saw amongst all of these programs. It speaks to what I said at the onset, that the United Way is taking a holistic approach to lifting up the 40% of our neighbors who are living in poverty or paycheck to paycheck. Just as our Education United after school program, which is serving almost 600 children for free and giving those families the opportunity to work extra hours while their children are benefiting from that personal attention and the education and the programming that's associated with that after school program. We're also layering support services through 211 to help those individuals and those families access other programs and services in the community. We recently started a social work department, again, to layer in those additional services. And then when you go back and talk about our essential goods program, many of those families who qualify are also getting things like brand new mattresses and pillows and blankets and backpacks and all of those other things. It's a holistic approach. And that's why at the United Way, our mission is to provide help for today, hope for tomorrow, and the resources to build a better future for our local community. We can't do that alone. We have 35 full-time staff and almost 50 part-time staff in our after-school program and in other programs. But the most important staff members we have are not. They're the volunteers. There are board of directors. There are donors like each and every one of you who support our work because we can't do it alone, but we can do it united. So if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat. But I want to thank you again for everything you do in support of our United Way, your United Way, in support of this community. Don't see any questions in the chat. So with that said, I'm just going to thank you all again for joining us. And have a wonderful holiday, everyone. Thanksgiving coming up in a couple weeks. And whatever holiday you celebrate, enjoy with family and friends. And thank you for your support of the United Way.